When I was traveling from Malawi to England, I had to stop over in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It was meant to be just a 2 hour layover, but the airline, Ethiopian Airlines, changed the flight details. So we had to stay in Ethiopia overnight. They paid for the hotels, the taxis. So I was really excited to see a bit of the city because we actually had to leave the airport and go to the city. This was on our way to the hotel. I was going to film the whole journey, but once the driver noticed that I was filming, he quickly closed the windows. He then told me it was not safe and I could film with the windows closed. That way nobody could see me since the windows were tinted. He wasn't fluent in English, but I quickly got the message. This did set a tone for the rest of the journey. I didn't feel comfortable filming. It also didn't help that I didn't do any research on Ethiopia and its public filming policies. And I didn't want to get in trouble. I was only meant to be in Addis Ababa for a night. This was the hotel room. It's called the Ambassador Hotel. The staff were really nice and it had a decent view of the city. It looked a lot better in the morning though. But I wasn't going to spend the whole evening in the hotel, so I planned to go out into the city. This was around 7 p.m. As I was about to leave the hotel to go explore Addis Ababa, one of the receptionists actually came up to me and asked me not to go too far away from the hotel because she was worried about my safety. But I was too excited. I was in a new city, so I ventured out. Anyway, as I was outside exploring, this man with a really big gun, like an AK-47, he was walking towards me and I was terrified. He just smiled. He didn't say anything, but I was still so scared because I'm not used to being that close to guns. Overall, everyone I met was really friendly. It's a shame most of the places were closed at this time. The next morning, just before my flight, I had a bit of free time to go around the city. But again, I wasn't sure on what to film and what not. Although I was warned to be careful, the locals were so friendly. A few people came to talk to me because I was wearing this traditional Ethiopian dress. Others would smile and start pointing out the letters because it's the Ethiopian alphabet. Now, about the city of Addis Ababa, it has a lot of construction sites, which means the city is growing. Addis Ababa is also a lot more modern looking than I expected. I thought it would have a lot of old buildings because of the rich history that Ethiopia has. It has never been colonized by Europeans. However, Italy occupied it from 1935 to 1941. If you're wondering what's the difference, well, colonialization would have been if Italy established a settlement and governed Ethiopia. In this case, the Italian military forces were present in Ethiopia but did not succeed in establishing a settlement and also in governing Ethiopia. Ethiopians fought hard for this and are very proud people because of what they were able to achieve. Most African nations gave in to the colonial tactics of divide and conquer, but Ethiopians stayed loyal to each other. They united and fought against any foreign powers. Another thing worth noting is that Ethiopia was already civilized and Christian before Europeans started colonizing Africa, or was trying to colonize Ethiopia. The type of Christianity that arrived in Africa before colonization is the Orthodox type. It's a bit different from the Western type of Christianity. I actually walked past one of these Orthodox churches and you can see how religious a lot of people are in Addis Ababa. I would say about 90% of the people who passed by did stop to pray. They would stop, face the church and say a prayer, or they would go inside the church. When praying, they use a lot of religious gestures like bowing and kneeling. Ethiopia has its own calendar. The calendar has 13 months and has also fasting dates. It was first adopted by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. The standard calendar is also used officially. When you actually see Addis Ababa or Ethiopia for what it really is, it's completely different from how it's usually reported in the media. Living in Europe, most news you hear about Ethiopia are to do with famine, aid, and poverty. Now, don't get me wrong, that does exist in Ethiopia too, and I saw it. But it also has this developed side that not many people talk about. Every country in the world has the good and the bad side. But for African countries, I guess the focus is always on the poverty and the good side we will be finding out on YouTube. If I took pictures of some of the buildings, especially like this one here, and asked people in other countries where they think this building is located, I doubt most people would think of Ethiopia, since it's usually reported as just a poor country. I didn't get to see all of Addis Ababa, but this area I was in really lives up to Addis Ababa's name, because Addis Ababa means new flower in Ethiopia's national language, Amharic. Even though Amharic is the national language, Ethiopia has over 82 languages. English is used as the language of instruction and for higher education. The signs and billboards, I think, have a mixture of both Amharic and English. Addis Ababa is known to be the political capital city of Africa. The African Union headquarters is located here. Addis Ababa usually hosts a lot of international meetings. It also helps that Ethiopian Airlines is the leading airline in Africa. It has flights to a lot of destinations that a lot of other African airlines don't operate in. And I have to say, for the prices, the services are decent. With the help of Transworld Airlines, Ethiopian Airlines was established in 1945 by the Emperor Haile Selassie. He is also the emperor who led the resistance against colonialism in Ethiopia. We cannot talk about Ethiopia without Haile Selassie because he's a very important historical figure who influenced politics, religious beliefs, and more. And he deserves his own full video. I was filming this from a tinted window. Sorry it's not very clear and the angles I had to work with a shut window. But I hope you get an idea of the city. Since this is the capital city of Ethiopia, I expected it to be a lot busier with a lot more traffic. But this wasn't the case. Maybe a lot of people were working in the offices, so not many people were out since this was a Monday. If any Addis Ababa locals are watching, is it always this quiet? Please let me know in the comments down below. Another thing I noticed is how well maintained the streets are. They are clean, the trees, the flowers, all of the plants are well maintained. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please comment down below and tell me what you think about this video. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.